Welcome to The Passion Pod with your host, Chris Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation.
Season 3, Episode 4.
Welcome back, friends, for our most diverse episode so far. Our guest today wears many hats. I first heard of him through his rap career, then found out he owns his own barbershop. If that wasn't enough, he also has his own apparel company. Welcome, local celeb Skotty Benz.
What's going on, y'all? How you doing? My name's Chip, a.k.a. Skotty Benz. What's good?
Dude, I'm so stoked to have you here, man. I mean, we've chatted a few times at like different shows and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because like we have a lot of the same friends, and
Absolutely.
you know, it's nice to be able to work together on some stuff. So right away, not everybody that follows this show necessarily follows you yet. Hopefully they will now. What's the best way for people to follow you and get into contact with you?
You can follow me on any platform at Skotty Benz. That's SKOTTYBENZ. You also can follow me on People Suck Apparel. That's on, follow us on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Skotty Benz, all that, all through it.
All right, so who are you exactly? What do you do as far as like a brief summary? Because, you could go into a lot of detail.
Yeah, well, I've been cutting hair for forever now, about 20 years. So that's been something I've always been drawn to. People have been harassing me since I was in high school for haircuts, right out the kitchen. Right out the basement. old hot-ass construction lights and shit. But, so I started doing all that, and around that same time I started doing music, and I always got something special from that, because when I was going through situations in school, my counselor would tell me to write all my feelings down and shit, you know what I'm saying? So I would just always jot them down, just go in and in and in. And that just kind of stuck with me, and it was a good release. So, as I got older, you don't know what the hell you're going to do, But I realized when I have these niches and these things that you're passionate about, you just got to follow that shit and have a little bit of faith,
That's how you actually have any kind of fulfillment to your life, I think. Because otherwise, if you're just chasing whatever other people told you to do, it's just empty, man. None of those accomplishments mean anything.
Yeah, barber, artist, most importantly, a father. I have 3 boys. Love them to death. Aries, Apollo, and Isaiah. Been with my girl now for almost 11 years. So, yeah, I've changed a lot. I'm not on probation anymore. I haven't been to jail in like at least 5 years now. So, so that's always a bonus.
Dad life, man. Yeah. I'm on that same bit. I mean, I had kids pretty young, but still, like, once I had kids, it definitely was one of those things where it kicks you in thinking, like, I need to set an example to people.
Yeah.
I can't really just around and do whatever I want anymore, because whatever I do, they're going to see what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was normally just a straight bag. But when you have a child, you like tap into this empathy that you've never been able to touch before.
Yeah.
And you realize how weak like men are and how vulnerable and stupid we are. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Puts things in perspective.
There's
really
a lot
quick.
of personal growth through it, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So tell me about the name Skotty Benz. I know recently you bought your dream car, right? That's tell me about the badass car that you parked outside and where the name came from.
It's a G-Wagon, G55. It's pretty sweet, I'm not gonna lie. I had a Audi for a couple years and I loved that car. But then I had my son, can't fit the whole family in there, so I had to make a little sacrifice and upgrade a little bit. Sure. But
so where'd the name Skotty Benz come from? You didn't always drive a Benz, yeah?
No, yeah, actually I did have a Benz. Like Remember When was I think that was my first music video, my solo joint on YouTube, shot by my guy Nathan Ejua, or Jube Cyrus on Instagram. What up, EJ? Yeah, so I had an old E420 Mercedes. That was my first Mercedes I bought. And I'm probably going to get cussed out for this, but let's see. Hanzo, he swears that he's the one that came up with Skotty from like, Skotty beat me up, and I had just got the Benz. So he was like, Skotty Benz. He's like, that's perfect. And then my guy Cuzzo is telling me that he is the one that came up with the name. Then I also have another friend named Streets, and he swears that he made it. So, I mean, this is about 3 billion blunts ago, so my memory is very foggy. So I remember that all the conversations happened, but I can't tell you who pegged it, to be honest with you.
All right, so you said you started cutting hair. I had a hairdresser. She owns her own salon. She's actually my cousin down in southern Wisconsin on season 1. And I talked to her about how she got into cutting hair. And her mom owned a salon. And in general, it was like middle school, high school, all her friends wanted to get her hair, her to do the hair for them for all their dances and stuff like that. But I feel like, or maybe it's just my experience, you don't really see a whole lot of guys cutting hair at a young age. Like, it's not something that you see a ton in high school like girls always doing. Or maybe I'm like totally off. But how did that like kind of come to be?
I just had a lot of bad experiences. Well, first off, my mom used to just butcher my hair. And I used to show her and be like, why can't I have my hair like Cousin Nick's? And she'd be like, because your hair is just different. And I'd be like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? She's like, your hair is just different for them. It's hard for them to cut it. So it got to the point where I was over this and I started getting my hair cut by this barber from Indianapolis, and I would just watch him. I'd pay attention to what he was doing. And then one day he left and I watched him for a couple years, and then one day he just left and I got my own clippers. So I started, experimenting on my friends and shit. And before you know it, I just figured it out. I just got it. And it just flew, it just happened. It took some time, obviously, but it wasn't overnight, I'll tell you that right now. Some people had some bad linings, maybe even a couple cuts.
Well, at least it's not a tattoo that's like stuck on you forever, right? So when did you open your barbershop?
Opened my barbershop in 2017. Yeah, 2017.
So this is way more recent than I guess I thought. Were you a barber then at a different shop for a while before that?
Yeah, I cut out at the mall at Elite for about 2 years. But 10 years ago, I used to work at Urban Style down on Barstow.
Gotcha. Okay, so how's it been going down at Chips?
Chips is going great. You can book your appointments online at chipsbarbershop.com. You feel me? No, but yeah, it's going good. It was a little, we got tested, obviously, with this whole COVID thing going on. Everyone got, stressed, especially, when you pay in, you're gonna wait the longest for, a little bit of money to help you out. I don't know. You just kind of, I personally was stressed a couple times. I was like, man, this is not cool. I can't imagine what other people are feeling like,
Because of the virus you're talking about.
Yeah, just the way people weren't able to work, and no matter, like I was saying before, you like nice things, so you work your ass off for those things, but all of a sudden when that gets cut off, the bills still come. So we all had to pull together at the shop, and everything worked out. So
yeah, well,
it was a blessing.
I did a little video piece with Walter, who did some of your music videos and stuff. You've worked with him before, and it got picked up by WEAU, and they did a little story about it or whatever. And one of the things I was talking about, or I talked about with them, and now I also recorded a commercial that I run. It's probably every couple hours or something on Converge it runs.
Dope.
And the main message that I'm talking about is, look, everybody in our area, they need to think about what local businesses that they really appreciate, which ones that they normally go to, whether it's a bar or a barbershop or a skateboard shop or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I encourage them to reach out and talk to the owners, because we're all kind of facing different stuff. It's not just the virus, right? The virus is impacting a lot more than what is initial in front of you. For myself, as an example, most skateboard stuff, trucks, wheels, bearings, a lot of the different things on them, they're manufactured in China. And all those factories shut down in January. And then when they did start opening stuff, it was essential items. Certainly not skateboard stuff, right?
So you have to even wait longer.
Right. So they didn't even make them. And the stuff that was left over still had to come through customs, which they were blocking everything to get to the distribution centers, which are all based out of California. And all of California is under quarantine.
That's stressful.
Yeah, so I can't, I'm open, but we're one of the few states that is open already. And I can't really get merchandise to sell in the first place. And I mean, that's lingering after just not making money for a month and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is pretty hard to do when you have all the overhead as well. And you're so used to it. I'm a little over 6 years in business. I kind of knew where or what to expect to a certain degree.
Yeah, because you could look at the numbers and kind of
have a general idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden it's just eliminated. Thankfully, people in Eau Claire have been pretty supportive and helping out a lot. But
yeah, it's crazy.
How many barbers you got working for you at your shop?
Barbers. We got 2 barbers and 2 stylists right now. Sometimes, people got to move around.
Sure. Do you still cutting hair 5 days a week, or how often are you?
Yeah, I cut hair Tuesday through Saturday. Normally, I'm not gonna say always the first one in there, but I'm often the last to leave.
Sure. Is that where you get anything else done? Do you have like a back studio there where you work on anything, like with your apparel or anything else?
Well, we actually just got the lounge almost done, so we're about to have the People Suck clothing in there. Also, like the ladies there in the spot, Amanda and Coley, their brand was Bombshell, Bish, and obviously I have Chips on my other side, right? We're just looking at each other or whatever. So we're probably gonna have some Bish and Chips made shirts. So put something like up like that, and then we're in the process of rebranding. Like I haven't even told anybody about this yet, but we're gonna rebrand so everybody can be underneath the same umbrella, and I no longer have to like feel like I gotta worry about everything where it's like Chip because my name's on it. So everyone's like, oh Chip, what stop calling me. I don't even want to hear that. Everyone's got to be responsible for themselves.
Sure.
Like yeah, sure it'll be my establishment, but we're all in this together. You feel me?
A collective.
It's a collective, yeah. Like if we don't have the same vision, it's not going to work.
Sure.
So,
all right. So tell me about the process of how that song was created, because it's the doo-wop thing, right? But where do you get rights to be able to use anything like that? Who is involved in making that? It's
just a cover record, you know what I'm saying? So obviously I don't own the rights to the beat or the instrumental or anything like that, but the words, that's all us. So when I wrote it, it was just the beginning of it where everyone was talking about it's going to be a 2-week shutdown. I was like, 2 weeks, I can do 2 weeks. I'm not worried about 2 weeks in my own house. But, I can last in a cell. I can do 2 weeks in the house. But, then it ends up being, 60-something days or whatever the hell it was. So, yeah, whatever was on my mind, I kind of went with this whole 90s throwback theme a little bit, just let you know what era I come from. What was going on when I was growing up, and then talking about now in the present. And then J-Mob, he went fucking crazy. He also has had a lot change in his life with his son being born, so you can hear all that in his bars. It was nice seeing people evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. Of all the songs that you've created, off the top of your head, which is one of your favorites?
I'd probably say one of my favorite records is Catch Me. I did that in 2012, 2013 maybe. That was back when I was on the run and shit. I was writing all these records while I was up in Minneapolis because I didn't want to be in Eau Claire because I'm like, I'm not going to let them just grab me. My attorney's saying like they don't have enough to get a warrant on you. They just want to grab you to hold you, So I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to stay here. So I went up to the cities. I stayed up there for a bit. Then I stayed in Arizona, spent a little bit in Mexico, and then came back when they finally had enough to grab me. But so that song was when I was in Arizona, and me and my guy Preet were getting up drinking Patron, and that's how it started.
So that's the funny transition, right? Of going from that, not that crazy long ago, and then I'm sure you get asked about this all the time, but it's a good thing to be asked about. Local business owners, all of a sudden, we're in a position to do really cool things for our community and lead by example. We're all of a sudden leaders that people kind of look to. And you've been doing this whole thing when the school year starts, right?
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that before I came in here. I'm like, damn, if they don't do this school shit, what am I gonna do? I still gotta get these kids' hair right,
Yeah.
so yeah, we did it last year. It was really cool just to give back. It's awesome to see these kids smile, get in the chair, and then when they leave, they're just a different person.
Sure.
It's not that much energy to cut hair for a day,
Yeah. So what exactly was it? Was it a day of cutting for underprivileged kids, or like how did you decide who did it? What exactly was it that you did?
Yeah, well, we were trying just to make it easier on people. There's a lot going on during the school year. A lot of kids don't have, the supplies that they need, nor have the funds to even get a haircut before that. So if we can help out, single parents or single mothers who don't have the extra $20, $40, $60, depending on how many kids they have, to get them cut, it's not very much effort for us to put a smile on these kids' faces and to, take a little bit of stress off the families and the people in the community.
So did everybody at your shop do that, or is that something just
Yeah, everyone showed up, put in their time, and it was cool. I'm trying to think of the numbers, what we did. We had to do 80, 100 haircuts at least. I'm not even sure.
Whose idea was it to do that, and how many years have you done it now? Was it just the one?
Well, we've been doing. I've been doing cuts with a couple of my friends now for years down at Positive Ave. We randomly pop down there and cut hair. Normally the second Monday of the month. But I don't even know whose idea it was. I'm gonna take the credit and probably say it was mine. but it's definitely a group effort. Like I said, it's crazy what just a haircut can do for somebody.
I think it's just that like small act. It's the fact that they see that you care about what they're doing, right? About them. So like, the protests are going on. So we're recording this on the 1st of June. So the really tragic death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. There's all these riots and stuff going on, right, all over the country. Yeah. Well, so we had a protest, a peaceful protest in Eau Claire, Saturday. I want to say it was Saturday, right, or maybe Sunday. Well, anyways, there's a big group of them, right? Well, I was on my way out of town. I had my kids, so I didn't really want to bring them through the protest and go walking with them because my kids are 3 and 7. Yeah. And I was on my way out of town, and I saw there was still a group of like 20-some people or something outside City Hall. Mm-hmm. And I had to go get gas. So I'm getting gas, and I'm looking at the Dollar Tree while I'm pumping my gas, and I'm like, I should buy them some waters real quick. So I go over there, and I grab a case of water and like a bunch of Nutty Bars because they had those on sale. Drove back to where the protesters were and just like gave it to them. You know what I mean? And it cost me like $10, right? Like an irrelevant amount. So it didn't really matter like financially. Yeah. But they were freaking out. They're like jumping and saying, "Thank you so much. You're the best." Blah blah blah. Yeah. And it was like that. It's just the like action of it. It's not about how much effort or money it actually takes. You know what I mean? Yeah. At least for a lot of people. And just to do it just because you want to, like not for any praise. Right. No, exactly. Like you didn't even have to tell me that story. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, for sure. Yeah. I had a couple people that are like, "Oh, why didn't you take a video of it or whatever?" Yeah, it's like, I'm like, it's not. It was just a really quick, small thing, but it was cool to see how excited they were about something small like that. Yeah, I picked up this guy on the hill, bought him Germania, and he was walking with 2 heavy ass bags. Like he's like struggling going up this hill. I'm like, yo, he's not gonna make it. So I just pulled over. I'm like, hey man, you want to ride? And he was like, yeah, please. I got to go up to like the RCU to deposit this $20 in the bank account for my wife. And I'm just like, oh, just get in the car, man. You know what I'm saying? And at that time we were, everyone was coming together and coming down to the barbershop, and we're putting together all these survival kits for the homeless. So, that I was cool to be able to give him some, soap and some toothbrush and toothpaste and like give him some socks and hand warmers and, you know what I mean? Just like he was tearing up from it. I'm just like, oh man, like, damn. Yeah, it's cool. It's like crazy. Like, it's not that much of an effort. You, but to them, it actually means a whole lot. Yeah, no, for sure. So talking about like other people like being involved in things, right? You're helping other people with that, but no one really does anything alone. I do think it comes down to like when you own your own business or as an artist, you can't depend on other people. You certainly have to pave your own way and make it happen. No one's going to make it happen for you. Yeah. But things work a lot smoother and go a lot better when you can have key people around you, right? So who are some of the people that have been around you that have been pretty integral to your success so far? Definitely my girl. She's very supportive, and she doesn't sugarcoat anything. Like if she feels it, you know what I mean, she's just gonna say it immediately. She's not gonna hold back because she doesn't want me to sit there and waste my time either. If she was like, "Oh, I should have said something that didn't feel right," you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I got a couple like just key homies, like my guy Preet, Bubs. Like when I'm writing music and shit, a lot of times they'll be in the studio with me. We'll just be smoking, drinking, talking shit. And then just kicking ideas off each other, you know what I mean? Just keep the ideas rolling, and it's either that or a lot of times I actually spend a lot of time by myself in the early mornings when my kids aren't awake yet and it's dead silent, and I can just be in my vibe and just, you know what I'm saying, just bumping, no distractions. And that's my time when I write, and I actually write really fast in the mornings because I just have that clarity, you know what I'm saying? And that was, speaking of that, when I wrote Clarity, I was forced to be sober because I was on probation. That just my head up thinking about that. But so who else do I have around me? Like my buddy Justin, my partner for People Suck. He's got his shit together. Is really responsible, and it's good to like be able to bounce ideas off someone who, is strategic with his decisions, and he's not just gonna be sporadic and just blow some money. Like he's really gonna think it through before he just casts his stones and shit. So. You have to trust yourself, right? When you're like setting all these things up,
For sure. Yeah.
But when you have a bunch of different like balls in play, it's like it's pretty good to have somebody else who can make sure that you're even not overlooking something.
All my people at the shop, like, you know, I really respect them, and I know that they have our best interests at heart. So it's easy for me to, if I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to Cali for 3-4 days, y'all be good. And I'm not sitting and up at night like, oh, I hope they didn't leave the lights on or leave the front door unlocked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shit like that.
So you told me in the past that like you used to play a lot of Eau Claire shows, you know, years ago. Nowadays you don't play them as often, right? Because you used to play them all the time. So where are some of your favorite places that you have gotten to play so far in your career?
I'd say honestly, like some of the hole in the walls that I've performed at have probably been some of the funnest shows that we've done. Like I remember when we started doing shows. When I say we, I used to fuck with Throttle Clan, and it was about like 4 or 5 of us in the clique. And when we started getting our buzz, that was like when we had just like started doing a couple gigs at the House of Rock downtown, and they started just to get fucking wild. And then I also remember some old shows back in the day, like Stone's Throw. They were just, you know, you felt like you were in a club, like in the cities. Like it was just a completely different vibe. And I don't know what happened to the culture, but everything just switched up and changed a little bit. And they kind of just started like shunning shows just a little, you know, until other venues opened up for new opportunities and shit, you know.
How about with other artists you've gotten to perform with? Are there any like highlights? You played with J-Mob, like I've seen that a lot. I've watched you play shows in Eau Claire with various different people, but you travel and do shows out in California and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So who are some other artists you've gotten to play with that, you know?
Well, honestly, like we like to keep this in-house, like I was saying. We haven't done any like huge names out in like California or anything like that, but like I was saying, my guy Curfew has plugged me with the majority of my shows out there, like The Study on Hollywood Boulevard. We did a nice dope show up in NoHo, North Hollywood, and then we did Los Gablos, another dope little spot in Long Beach. When it comes to like names, like big names and stuff like that, I've done like obviously random shows. Like first one when we were young was Fat Joe, Lean Back. We've done stuff like Nappy Roots, Bubba Sparks. My guy Big Henry came up here. He's like, you know, Slum American Fistful affiliation. He's the CEO of that. He came up here from Alabama to perform for that Clarity joint like 5 years ago. Then the last December here, we brought up King Louie to the Metro. That was cool. I don't know. This is shit I should have wrote down.
Who is it that helps get all those things together? Like, we should really give credit, right? Because in Eau Claire, for some crazy reason, we've been having some pretty big names roll through for a lot of years, right?
For a while now. Yeah.
Who are some of the people that you're aware of that somehow get these people up here?
My guy Benny Haas from The Plus has always been cool and extending a hand when he knows someone he might bring through, which is always cool. Like, you know, just to get a text like, hey, this show's coming through, you want to kind of be a part of it if it pops off. Otherwise, you always can hit up managers. You can, with social media now, it's really dope. You can just message people straight up and be like, hey, what would you charge to come through here? Or I saw you had a show in Madison or Milwaukee or Minneapolis. What would you charge to come through here for the night? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just shoot numbers at you and they won't even be that crazy. You'd be surprised what you can get people for, you know?
Yeah, I think social media as a tool is much more powerful than a lot of people give it credit for. Mm-hmm. I mean, with my show, a good number of guests that I've had on the show so far, the relationship began, or the dialogue at least began, exclusively from social media. Mm-hmm. Because I don't just have everyone's random cell phone number, right? For real, but if I have a connection through somebody, through whatever, and then you message them, most people see their DMs, even if they don't respond them unless they got 200,000 followers. Most people see the DMs and then choose whether or not to follow or respond. But
yeah, a lot of people, you know, if they f with you, everything's about relationships in general. So if someone vibes with you, they're just gonna hit you up and give you, you know, see if you want the opportunity. Like, yo, you want to be a part of this? You know, if not, no hard feelings.
I think we're blessed in Eau Claire to have a really quickly growing art scene. art and music scene, right? It's been popping off a lot in the last decade.
The culture is definitely
or so.
growing. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite up and comers? Because I've had some on the show, right? I know like you've hung out with Miles Boulevard before. He was on the show. TYB was on the show. He's kind of taking some spotlight all of a sudden, which is awesome. Who are some of the people that you're a fan of that are coming up right now?
Well, like I already said, J-Mob. I f with J-Mob. He's got a really dope flow. I really do like what Miles has been doing. And TYB has been making a hell of a buzz. It's awesome seeing people coming together and sharing stuff and letting people be informed on when this is going on and when a show is going to be going on, or check out my new video. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of like some other local cats I've been listening to. Dofi, I listened to a couple of his records. They're pretty dope. I liked his vibe on that shit. Like my guy Fabian Trinidad, I did some shit with him. We did a dope little record. I listen to a lot of Big J instrumentals, just in general. Big J on the beat, he's always got some fucking smoke. Yeah, Giovanni. God, I can't believe I couldn't think of that shit. You can see how slow I am. But we did a dope feature. I was telling Miles right before he dropped this album, I was like, man, we got a feature with. I did a record with him and Jay Plaza that I was waiting for that to drop. That shit is dope.
You did another one with Miles Boulevard?
Yeah, we did this like 10 months ago, but it's fucking dope. And it's original beat too. And then Ver Capone, I did a record with him that was really dope. He's out of Winona. I got a whole I wish I would have brought my laptop just to pop up some shit. That would have made it really easy for my brain to flow like that, but
no worries, but that kind of leads me into my next question, right? I know I've talked to Miles and other dudes about like hitting people up for features. And we were kind of talking about this off mic about how when you start including other people, not necessarily in a feature, but when you're networking with other people, you both grow, right? Hopefully both of you get 10% of each other's followers to help grow everything that you're doing. Yeah. So when somebody who isn't real established yet, right, wants to approach you about a feature, it's not just about like, hey, how much do you charge? Obviously, you have to vibe with them, and you want to be on something they're doing. But if somebody wants to try to hit you up for a feature, what's the best way for them to go about it?
You can just jump in my DM for my IG and just chop it up. Like honestly, it's all about just the record. If the record's dope and I fuck with it, then I'd be happy to jump on it and we could figure something out. But in some cases, I've written verses and choruses for some people, and they just paid me X amount of dollars for the song. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah. Let's talk quarantine for a minute here. What's your experience kind of been like? Obviously, like you said, at first you thought it was 2 weeks, so you wrote some music, but not just negatives. What did you end up spending your time doing? I saw videos of the hot tub.
Yeah, we've been in the hot tub. Been drinking large amounts of cognac. Been drinking Douce and a lot of Henny. We fixed up the backyard. I've been laying seed. They got me doing crazy shit here. I'm laying mulch, laying down stones for landscapes. We bought a new grill, so I've been out here fucking some chicken up, you know what I'm saying? Been hitting the cabin a little bit. And really, I've been smoking a ton of J's, and that's really about it. I've been trying to be disorganized when it comes to my needs and wants. Like, especially because we're sitting here during quarantine, so we got all this fucking time. What do you do with time? You're going to burn it up, or you're going to spend some money you probably shouldn't have spent. So I have all these ideas, like what I want to do with these brands and like things I want to like put my money towards, but it's like, I don't even know when I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that also held me back as well when I wanted to make these orders. Like we're working on some swim trunks and beach towels and shit right now and all this other stuff, but it's like, if people burn up this little $1,200 right away, what are they gonna buy clothes with?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where my mind was at right away.
There's obviously a lot of question marks when it comes to the whole thing. I think what is important for us, right, is to just remember that our time is our most valuable resource, even if we're in quarantine, and look at like what can we do? Because people like me and you, we have all these different projects going on. Yeah. We don't usually get all that like much time to sit and do stuff for ourselves, even if all it is like reflection or like watching a movie with your chick or whatever.
Yep.
You don't typically get a lot of that time, or if you do, you're still distracted during that time because
Yeah.
you're focused on all these other projects.
Yeah,
So I think it's
yeah.
important to like recognize that time's still valuable and try to use it as best you can, even if there's
Absolutely.
limitations on you, you know?
Yeah, and I've noticed that since I'm around my children so much that now it's like the opposite. So now when I leave, they're like, "Oh my God, where are you going? Are you coming back?" You know, like before I was working all day, and then like I'd come home and be like, "Oh, Dad, you're here, cool," and then they go back to like jump on their tablet before they go to bed or something, you know.
Yeah.
But I also, when we were talking about that, you know, I have friends all over the country, so I was like, damn, I'm in, you know, Wisconsin. It's pretty chill here, and they're like in L.A. and Miami and New York, and it's crazy out, you know, really crazy out there. So I would just pick up the phone and just call them just to see how the hell they're doing, just to let them vent for a little while, because, you know, out there they're living on top of each other. Out here we can literally just go for a walk and might not even see anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the crazy things with the viruses here. It seems like, I don't know that people don't believe in it, but people certainly aren't as scared about it, right? Because, like, we just don't have those kind of numbers. And it's normal for me to go walk my dog and not come within 6 feet of anybody.
Yeah, it was hard for me not to have the attitude and being like, "Fuck it, I don't even believe this shit," but it's like, I'm just fed up of being in the house. That's all it really is, you know?
I think the best way to do it right is you have extremists on both sides of every issue, unfortunately. The best way, I think, is to just use your best judgment and do what you realistically can and try not to be super reckless. Like, I'm requiring people wear masks in my store. I'm spraying their hands. But I am letting people come in the store because I have to make money.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're not all just going to sit inside our house and not do anything. It's just about, like, trying to be as, I don't know, careful as you realistically can. Mm-hmm. All right, so talk to me about the People Suck apparel thing right now. When did you start that? Where is it at right now? I know you just had a bunch of merchandise drop.
It's you can go right to peoplesuckapparel.com, order it right offline. But as of last week, we just grabbed some of the merch, brought it right down to the Barbershop. It's at 416 Water Street. You can pop right in, you know, check out the gear. We got some tanks, some tees, still got some hoodies and hats, snapbacks, dad hats, all that good stuff.
When did you start the brand? Who did you start it with?
I started by myself about 4 years ago. I did like just random, like I really like embroideries. That's like my favorite shit. Just because like if you ever see like designer shit, the embroidery work is just so intricate. I just love that shit. Like chain stitching and all that stuff. But yeah, I just started with like it looked just like a fucking Supreme logo. I just did like People Suck with the same type of font or whatever. And at first I just made them as a joke, you know, because people were pissing me off. One day I was just like, dude, people suck. They fucking just make me mad. And I think my mom, I don't even know who said it, my mom, my girl, someone was like, you should just say fuck it and just make t-shirts like that with that on it. And I was like, fuck it. And then I just started doing them like that, and people started eating it up. And before you know it, I don't know, it turned into something that people wanted to rock all the time. And then I kind of get into the vintage. So we also have a vintage store on Etsy. It's called The Pub Vintage Apparel. So I have a whole bunch of like old school gear, you know, ranging from 70s and, you know, 80s, 90s, shit like that. Take some of those clothes and then I also alter some of those joints and then make custom one-of-one pieces for People Suck as well. It's kind of transformed through the years. Soon I'm going to be trying to do a whole bunch of designer add-ons to hoodies and bags and all types of stuff like that.
I love doing apparel because I sell a lot of my own apparel. And
Yeah.
I've done a lot of like simple stuff over the years. But it's cool how it's when you already have like an entity, so to speak, right? Through your music or through your store and whatever, you already have this like this clientele, right? Then when you create something, there's already kind of a want for it just because you made it.
Yeah,
Which
for
is
sure.
rad, right? So it kind of gives you a lot more creative freedom to be like, oh, like, not that necessarily people will love everything, but it makes you a little more confident in working out and making something that you like.
For sure, yeah. Like they kind of look at it like, damn, well, if you co-sign it, it's got to have some value to it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So we're going to be doing a collab, right? We already had the design, submitted it. This thing, you know, it takes a while. So we'll see. This may be dropping around the same time as the episode.
Yep.
But we finally found a way to collab. So we're doing a People Suck /passion skateboard deck that's going to be a really limited drop that we'll be selling.
Yep.
I love doing collabs with people. It's like been my favorite thing since I started the show because for the longest time I thought like growing up as a skateboarder and being in the skateboard industry, those were my people and that's like what I identified as. And I didn't realize how similar my mindset is with so many different people. And I think that's like everywhere, right? You're sheltered based on the people around you. That's like your worldview a little bit.
Yeah, we're imprinted by everyone.
Yeah.
Whether you're happy, you mimic someone that you want to be like as you're happy. Same goes for mad and stress, all that shit.
Yeah.
All my fault.
No, it's all good. But now with the show, all of a sudden, like the goal with the show is to reach as many different type of people and have as many different industries involved as possible to show everybody that we all are really similar people, even though we look way different, even though what we're doing is way different. At the heart of it, all the people who have been on the show, we're all doing what we are because we really enjoy it and we're very fulfilled by it and we want to keep growing whatever that thing is. So by doing that, I've been able to reach out and work with so many different people, like the candle thing and now a skateboard with like a rapper and his clothing company, like all kinds of cool stuff, right? And it's exciting because it's like there's no limit as to all the crazy different things that can happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you're kind of in that same spot, right? What are some collabs that would be pretty cool if you could make happen?
Some collabs, man. Let's see. Well, I love like design and stuff like that. If I could do like a furniture collab or something, I think I'd be super into that.
What kind of furniture?
Preferably something vintage with like wood, like some type of wood engraving type of work. You know what I mean? Where like the flow would be something like this, maybe like something 1920, and then like reupholstery it, but make it like funky, something you'd see like in Harlem, like in just like a little dive hookah spot or something. You know, like something that just looks like it's out of a magazine. Like you need to take a picture in that chair. That's some shit I'd like to design. That's some shit I'd like to design.
That's tight, dude. But I mean, you look at companies like Supreme that are huge, right?
Yeah,
and
they do it with with everybody. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You really can, and that's part of the fun of it. It's almost like its own little art project, right? So I started painting a lot in the last year, and I finally got an iPad Pro, so that way I can start making my drawings into things that I'm going to use for apparel. Yeah. So by the time this episode comes out, that'll be happening. Well, that's because dope. I own my own shop, right? So I have my tax ID number just like you do. I can get pretty much anything blank as a wholesale cost. Yeah. I made one lawn chair last week. Yeah. Just one because I felt like it.
That's baller.
Yeah, dude. Made it. Posted it. 5 minutes later, I had a homie in the city. He's texting me. He's like, "Dude, I have to have it." And I'm like, "Tight. You're the only one with one." Yeah. But there's the opportunities are endless with it, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is a good feeling, just to be in control of what you want to do in general, and that's what everyone needs to do is just realize it's okay to be afraid or you might fail. That's cool. Go to the next thing. Yeah. Like keep moving. When I was selling drugs, like, oh, I got caught. Oh, damn, I got to go to jail. Like, if you fail in a business, you're not going to go to fucking jail. You know what I mean? Just get up and keep going. Go to the next one. Keep it moving. Like, I think everyone's just so, like you said, everyone's just so worried about what everyone else thinks. F what they think. Who cares what they think? Like, how do you think to yourself when you speak to yourself in your head? How is your self-talk? Do you motivate yourself or do you just sit there and just mope around all day? Like, smack yourself, splash some water on your face. You're alive, you're breathing, you're not in pain, you're fucking out here. Like stop walking around like a zombie. Like open your eyes, look into the sun. It's okay.
Especially right now, right? With all the crazy stuff that's going on. One thing, I forget which guest it was at this point now, but he was talking about how people always say, what's the worst that could happen, right? But if you flip it around and say, well, what's the best that could happen from the situation? Absolutely. Damn, a lot of good things. Yeah. But when you're in your comfortable spot, right? You're working for a bank or whatever, and you look at what's the best case scenario, you're not even excited by that. And that's kind of a problem, right? Put yourself in a position where you're excited about the best case scenario. That's a very motivating thing, I think.
Well, someone's always going to benefit off of a bad situation. So you gotta always just sit, like, is the glass half full or half empty, right? So, like, it's a hard thing because no one is just thinking logical and, like, calm all the time. You react off your emotions, you know? So if you're pissed off, you don't process. You just go at it, you know what I mean? But someone else is sitting there like, this could be good. You know what? I'm going to charge $1 for every mask for when people come in. Maybe I'll make $700,000. Who knows? Like, when Menard did that, I was like, God damn, you got to make money on everything?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
dude.
Jesus.
That kind of blew my mind too, right?
Yeah, I just thought about it and I was like, did you need to do that? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, your accountant was probably like, this could be great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all about looking at opportunities. Another thing that I thought was really helpful was I had asked Andrew Cannon on season 2. Yeah, I think. Season 2. About the challenges that have been coming up, right? Me and you were talking a little bit off mic about how you used to drop albums every 6 months, year, whatever, but you'd be dropping album. And, like, times have changed. All of a sudden, that's not really what the consumer wants anymore, and you need to try to adjust. Well, you can look at it as a negative because in some ways, maybe it's not your favorite thing ever. But one really cool thing is when things change, right? The challenges are different that you're facing, but everybody is facing the new challenges at the same time.
Yep.
So nobody has a leg up on you.
That's true. Yeah.
And if you're willing to look at that as just like an opportunity, there's probably a way to grow through it. You know, for most people, obviously some situations not so much, but I think mindset going into stuff is, you know, really what makes or breaks you. Yeah,
you got to find like-minded people who are just as, hungry as yourself. Like, sometimes people are going to have to sacrifice the time or, you know, and replace that of money. Because, like, if you believe in what we're doing, the money's going to come anyway, right? So, like, you know, everyone's got to pitch in and be part of it. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I always try to look at, like, how can I invest in myself to grow my own skill set, my own knowledge, the people around me, those types of things, because you can always make more money later. You don't want to put yourself in like a crazy like hole, but you're never going to grow anything without investing, whether it's time, money, or energy. But you have to be doing that. Yeah. That being said, what are some of the current projects that are in the work right now we can expect to see coming out for you?
Like I was saying, we're trying to get these swim trunks and towels, I believe slides and bucket hats out for the People Suck stuff. I'm also working hard on the rebranding of the shop so we can get our look together, the new logo. I was actually going to go through my buddy Blake again, who did the logo for the People Suck, because he does amazing work. So I was going to have him do this new stuff for the Barbershop. So yeah, just looking towards the future. I'm just trying to be consistent, keep growing, and network with new people and hopefully find some awesome opportunities along the way.
All right, so we got to this point of the show. I ask this on every episode because I think it's just kind of a good reminder to show people like why things are worth it, right? It's not the money. At least for me, money's like exclusively a tool. I have to have it. It gets me things, but it's never the money that I get really excited about for anything. So I would like you to share an experience that you got to have that you're really grateful for, right? But the only reason it happened was because you chose to pursue things that you're passionate about, such as your music and your barbershop and your apparel.
I'd say last year on Mother's Day, we took the entire family to our apartment in Vegas and also brought my son's friend. So we all flew out all together. And when I was younger, we never did anything like that. I was the kid who flew with the other family to go somewhere, you know. So now it was just weird, me being in the situation and we're bringing a kid with us to like a spot that, you know, I wouldn't even been able to fathom when I was younger, that I would be like, oh, this is my little spot, or you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was really humbling to have my entire family there and then my mother as well. Like just hanging out at the pool, everyone's in a whole nother state, and it was just like, it just felt really good. Like I made the right decision to switch my lifestyle up and get my priorities straight, and it just felt, it was just really humbling. It made me feel like I was glowing for sure.
Yeah. I want to continue to give examples for myself but I'm like at this point of enough episodes where I'm like running out of really like cool gems of shit that I've done that I can't like think of any more examples. I'm sure like more of them will come at some point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different situations, like even going to bed at night where you don't have to worry about getting raided, like where I can just go to sleep, or I could take a nap now and not be stressed about anything. It's just, but we have to realize, like, we all choose to be in these situations we place ourselves in. And that's why I was talking about the self-talk thing. Like, the way you talk about yourself is literally what you're going to get in return. So if you can't flip that page and, like, realize how grateful you should be for the place you're in right now, or just to be accountable for your actions and why you are in that place right now, you know what I'm saying? You got to break that cycle. You got to switch it up.
I've talked about before about, like, I don't think it's so much an ego thing, really, but I think it's more if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to, right? So you have to be your biggest believer, I guess. So, like, an example for me was last year, or I guess this past year, I finally decided that, you know what, I'm over it. I hate winter. I don't want to be here anymore for the winter. I don't really make any money, realistically, from my shop during at least January and February. I'm over it. And I was talking to my dad about it because he was going south, right? And I was like, I could come and visit you down in Florida. And he's like, oh, how long? Like a week? I'll get an Airbnb for us to stay. And I'm like, well, you're staying there for a month though? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, no, shit. I'll be down there the whole month then. He's like, what are you talking about? You can take a month off work? I'm like, well, for one, I'll be working on stuff. Don't worry about it. I ended up editing a whole season of my show while I was down there, so I didn't waste my time. Yeah. But because I wanted to do that, right, and I made it happen, I saved up some money, it was like, okay, I can just take January and February off, and I traveled to Peru, and then I traveled all over California recording episodes, and then I went down to the Florida Keys, and I kicked it, and I did a bunch of paintings, and edited a whole season of my show. Yeah. How many people, like, did I say that I was going to do that to? And they're like, what? No, you're not. You're not going to just, like, leave for 2 months of winter. And I'm like, yeah, I am, dude.
You got to be the 1%er, man.
Right. You got to believe that you can do it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
But, I mean, how many awesome experiences did you have? Like, stories, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can only imagine some of the shit you can't even say on the mic.
Dude, it was, but it was fantastic. So, like, one of them, I'm a big scuba diver, which is like something I got into a few years ago. I have my own gear, and I dive. Anywhere that I travel, I dive. I dive up north a lot, too, just on lakes. Well, one of the most famous things, if you just, like, Google scuba diving, Jesus, right? There's this statue of Jesus that's in this protected coral reef in the Florida Keys. And it's got, coral growing off of it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy looking. But when I was down there, I got to dive that site because the water was right that particular day. Yeah, and since I already had all my gear and everything, it was like $40. Wow, it was amazing. It's like one of the most epic places to dive in the world. And then when I was in Peru, I got to go surfing, and then I went on a trip out on this boat. We went out to this little island where there was like 10,000 sea lions. Yeah, and you got to just swim with sea lions. That's dope. Yeah, dude. They're like chewing on your feet like a dog, like, a dog will kind of bite down and not actually bite. That f***ed me up. Yeah. They were, dude, you're out in the cold water. Oh, my God. It was incredible, and actually much more reasonably priced than you would expect.
Yeah, I had the same type of thing. I was really hungover when we were down in Puerto Rico, and my girls really wanted to go to this little island called Culebra. I guess it's also called Cocaine Island because they found a bunch of cocaine there or something. But the ferry was $4.50 or something to go there. And I was about to just miss out on a $4 ride to like one of the most beautiful islands because I was hungover. So I feel you. You just got to do it.
Oh, no, yeah. When opportunities come up, you need to pounce on them for sure. Yeah. All right. So on a more serious note, what is the most important lesson that you think you've learned so far on your journey?
I don't know. That's really hard. The most important thing, I guess it just. I mean, in this part of my life right now, it's just obviously it's my family, and taking care of them, and that's also one of the things I did during the quarantine. I had all this free time, so I was like, I need to get my life insurance together for my kids. I'm like, what the f*** if something happens to me? Like, I gotta make sure they're straight, But I mean, if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I got some good smoke, I can leave when I want, I got no kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm free as fuck. But yeah, I guess I would say definitely that just so much gratitude, and I'm grateful that I have healthy children and I'm not in debt. Life is good. I mean, I've been in such bad situations before, like living behind my friend's house in an RV, drinking a bottle a day because I hated myself, to, waking up and just feeling blessed and really having a genuine smile on my face, So, life will f you up. You just gotta pick yourself back up and keep going.
Well, every time you keep having those small victories, right, over time, and you have gratitude for what you gain from those things, it just builds and it just builds and it just builds. And it's when you take that step up the mountain, right, where all of a sudden you're looking down and you're like, damn, my real estate up here is worth a whole lot more than it used to be. Yeah,
it takes a little bit, but you got to celebrate this. Like you got to celebrate the small victories, because I think we all everyone thinks that you got to make a 5-year goal, make a fucking 5-minute goal if you have to, just to stay motivated. You know what I'm saying? Like, break it down to a day or two. Like this, you know what I mean? Like, some people just you just dwell too much on the shit. You just gotta keep it going.
Well, I'm excited to do some more work together. Hopefully, after this comes out, both of us will be blown up even more. Everyone's going to know our name in all the cities around us, but we'll see. I mean, I'm pretty confident in myself, at least. Hopefully, the same can be said for you.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing all right. But I appreciate you having me on the show.
Any last words for all our friends?
My last words would be passion over profit. Gotta be fly by rep.
Genius.
That's all I got.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.